So yesterday, Ukraine's gas authority said that they were cutting out one of the pipelines going from Russia to Europe. The gas pipelines, yeah. And this gas pipeline that they cut represents roughly a third of all of the Russian exports to Europe. And they said it was for force majeure reasons. They said because of the war, right? That would be the force majeure. But the fact is that the pipeline, let me get the name of this straight. It's called the Sokranivka transit point. Well, according to information, there was no military activity going on that was threatening this transit point in particular. But the Ukrainian gas authorities said that it was force majeure, and they told Gazprom, the supplier of the gas, to switch pipelines. And of course, Gazprom said that that simply was just not possible, technically possible. It was just not physically within the realms of that could be done. And so, then the Ukrainian gas authority said, well, it's too bad. Europe, you're not going to get your gas. What the hell is this? Because clearly this is a political move. This is not a technical matter. It's not like, during the war, the Russians or the Ukrainians blew up this transit point. No. In fact, over the last, 70 days, 70 coming up on 75 days, I do believe, of this war, the Russians and the Ukrainians have not interfered with the gas flowing from Russia to Europe. Because of course not. Russia benefits and Ukraine benefits because they skim off some of that gas, and they also get transit fees from that gas. And so neither party has any interest in interrupting the flow of gas from Russia to Europe until now. This is a political move. If this were a technical matter, something that because of the reality on the ground, the war, this, that, the other, we would have heard about it by now. It would have been an ongoing issue that would have been slowly growing. But all of a sudden, this decision by the Ukraine's gas authority to just cut it off, and cut it off at an arbitrary date. It was this morning at 7 in the morning that they cut off the gas. And as far as I know, as I'm recording this video, that gas has been cut. And it was roughly a third of Russia's gas supply to Europe, which would represent, seeing as Germany gets roughly a little over half of its gas from Russia, this is about 17 to 20% of Germany's gas needs. This was a political decision, and the question becomes, who is holding the trigger on this particular gun? Who pulled it? Because it's not clear that the Ukrainians would really carry out such an extraordinary move against Europe's economy, or the economy of the biggest country in Europe, Germany, without some sort of approval from Washington. So it's unclear what's going on here. Is the United States, by way of Ukraine, punishing Europe for what? I mean, Europe has been this really obedient little lapdog that has been happy to sacrifice its economy for the sake of the Ukraine war. So what is going on? I mean, for the life of me, I can't quite understand it. Because, follow my reasoning here. See, if this were a technical issue, we would have heard noises about it. It wouldn't have been so abrupt. Literally, this popped up yesterday out of the blue. If it had been a technical issue, that because of fighting going on or whatever, a lot of commentators would have realized this. All kinds of people are paying very close attention to the gas pipelines flowing from Russia to Europe. Because, of course, the gas markets want to be on top of that information because, of course, buying and selling futures of the gas supply in Europe is a big business. And so they keep their eyes on those pipelines like a hawk. And if the war were actually threatening the pipelines, physically threatening them, we would have known about it. And if there were some sort of technical issue, some sort of maintenance issue, or some sort of whatever, a spare parts issue, whatever, again, we would have heard about it from all of these eyeballs that are on these pipelines. But all of a sudden, this happened like a light switch. The day before yesterday, everything was hunky-dory insofar as the gas supply from Russia to Europe. And yesterday, the Ukrainian gas authority said, no more gas through this pipeline because of force majeure. Somebody made a political decision. And the issue becomes who's being hurt by this decision and who made this political decision. For the life of me, I can't understand it. I mean, it's like somebody in the United States wants to break the European economy. I mean, because that's what's going on here. See, if all of a sudden a gas pipeline that represents a third of the gas supply to Europe from Russia is just switched off like that, what's going on? I mean, I can speculate until the cows come home. I mean, come on, you guys know that I'm a master at speculating, right? But seriously, I don't for the life of me understand it. And I don't for the life of me understand why the Europeans would be punished this way. Anyway, I just wanted to do this quick video discussing this because I am at a loss to understand why Europe is being punished by the United States, because it is being punished by the United States. Because the Ukrainian Gas Authority, rather, would never have made such a monumental decision on its own. Something weird is going on here, and I suspect that perhaps the alliance between Europe and the United States is a lot more frayed than we realize. And it could be that Germany in particular is very leery about this whole Ukraine situation. And perhaps they already realize that the war is being lost, because it is. Because the Russians are winning, clearly winning. And they are winning with remarkable speed. It seems very slow because we have become accustomed to everything being incredibly fast insofar as events are concerned, but insofar as a war is concerned, this is incredibly speedy, even though we perceive it as fairly slow. But compared to other wars, big wars like this one, this has been exceptionally fast, and the Russians are clearly winning. There's no doubt about that. And so what's going on here? Did the Germans sort of like want to get off this particular ride, and the Americans are punishing them? I don't get it. But anyway, here's the video.